Welcome to Your Best Life podcast, where we help you discover your calling so you can live with purpose and clarity. We're Pete and Julie Morrill, your guides, mentors, and lifelong adventurers, and we're here to help you find your true north. Welcome back to Your Best Life. In today's episode, Pete reconnects with Liz, a former program director who once served under Pete's leadership at Kidder Creek Camp. Their conversation is full of hard questions, deep reflection, and insight as they reflect on how camp ministry shaped Liz's leadership journey, deepened her understanding of her personality, and helped her discover her calling. Liz is now serving in camping ministry leadership as well as powerful work in justice and restoration ministry. This brief coaching segment is a beautiful reminder of how our experiences can prepare us for the unique roles we're called to in life. Let's listen in as Pete coaches Liz with questions that focus her on her calling.
But that's like definitely embedded in my story as a whole. And I do thrive in those situations where there is just natural crisis that happens. And that's just an area that I just come on. I know. It's not
that's a curse of a calling.
It is.
Kind of, except for somebody needs to be there in that situation. I feel a little bit of that in my own life as well. And I feel like, well, it's just somebody has a pretty stable personality. Go ahead. Next one.
I also think that Enneagram 3s are just prone to that in general. Like that's something that they really thrive in that space of like being able to have this challenge that seems impossible and being able to navigate through that and like make the best out of an impossible situation and get people onboarded and help us raise the support to rebuild whatever. And that's just part of it.
Good.
I would say the other part that really resonated was pioneer and builder mindset. That is something, just the points that were made within that, ring very true to that is kind of how my grandfather was, how my father was, and that's been ingrained in how I've viewed the world. And I think the, not just mindset, but also worldview of like, this is what we do and you make something out of nothing. I believe that that's also been something that I think the Lord has also further confirmed as like part of a calling. And I would say the last one was strong sense of home in unlikely places. I would have never necessarily stated it that way, but it just, there's something about that in, not just in Cambodia. Cambodia is a significant piece in that, but then also I would say in camping ministry, because your home is always ever changing. Like at least for me, it hasn't been at one place for 19 years.
Right.
It's been, one place for maybe 3, 4, 5, and then we transition to the next. And so it's been a very transient lifestyle that I've lived in the Christian camping realm. And so that one definitely speaks to a lot of that of like my home has always been very much in the body or the community that God has brought in that season, in that time, or within him and my relationship with him directly. So,
Good.
I would say leadership development was one.
In yourself or in other people or both?
In others.
Okay. Building and empowering teams while bringing out individual strengths, which you mentioned already.
That rings very true to that. I would say leadership development for myself looks more like I'm always eager to learn and grow. So I'm always reading, always taking courses, always trying to expand my knowledge to be able to, share that with those that I lead and develop. Entrepreneurial freedom would be the other one. I would say the other one, this was the hard one. I was debating for a while between justice and restoration and sustainability and growth.
You can put them both in there if you want.
So I would say justice and restoration would be my soul's response to that question.
Explain that.
In
what
the
you
sense
just said,
of
your
like,
soul's response.
I would say that is like internally, that is what my heart desires to do, is bring about justice and restoration, whatever that looks like. However, but I feel like in the professional realm, when it comes to executive leadership, that sometimes looks like sustainability and growth. It doesn't always look like justice and restoration, because that's not the language we use in corporate settings. And so I feel like both of them, for me, were like closely intertwined, as I feel very deeply about justice and restoration. but that often looks fueled by growth and sustainability.
Well, justice and resolution is when the circumstances are negative.
Yes.
And when the circumstances turn,
Yes.
it's sustainability and growth. Yeah.
Which I love being able to foster an environment like those 4 adjectives, like really like adjectives. Yeah, really fuel for me. Like what I love to see happen is like, okay, here are the problems. This is the justice. How do we bring about restoration that then creates growth and sustainability in the process? And how are we going to do that? How are we going to go after those things? And that really excites me. It makes me feel come alive in those spaces.
This entrepreneurial freedom is an interesting thing. And when I look at your life map, I see a chameleon of sorts, right? You're in this situation, you then start morphing to whatever this situation needs.
Yeah.
And then you get in this situation and you start either changing the culture or moving these pegs around. Do you feel like if you were working in an organization that was humming, really healthy, really good, you would feel less alive than if you were working in an organization that needed you more? Needed reform, needed justice, needed restoration.
No, because I would say that I came into a really healthy culture when I went out to the New England. I entered in a fairly healthy culture as a whole. And I viewed it as actually like for me during that season of life, it was actually like I was looking forward to actually having a space of rest in that. So it was actually really beautiful that, oh, I don't have to problem solve these things. Like they're already taking care of it. I'm in a role where I just get to really like enjoy what I'm doing in a space. Quickly that changed because they saw the leadership in me. And they were like, let's maximize this, which I was all about taking that up.
They saw the entrepreneurial
Right.
side, yeah.
And they were like, oh, let's give this all to Liz. So it was like, okay, great. And I'll take it and run with it. Which was, creating something that had never been before. So it was something very new. And so I do love partnering, I think, with organizations that are humming, because I just like seeing them grow and get even better and even more unified than where they maybe were at the time.
And that would be something that I think you need to wrestle with, because you have been in this restorative place.
Yeah.
But the entrepreneur is also needed in healthy organizations because they're trying to conquer new territory. So when you are working for a wounded organization or you're working for a healthy organization, which makes you feel more alive?
I would say I've had more experiences in wounding. So I'd say naturally, because I've had more experiences in that space, that does make me come alive. Or if an organization is endeavoring on new territory, I am like, that like definitely fuels that desire.
Do you think they're somewhat balanced, or do you think it's more so FEMA goes in when they've just had a flood, or they've just had a hurricane, right? That takes a kind of person, right? And then there's also this organization that's trying, Apple Computers, trying to innovate all the time, all over the place. But they're probably know where they're going a little bit more, have their compass set a little bit more. Do you have a strong feeling one way or the other?
FEMA is what I know.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah.
That's what I know really well. At this stage of my life, I would say I know that more than I know healthy culture.
And change agents are not always long-term agents.
Yes.
Which you've also experienced, right? Whether it was because of the culture or because of the fires or whatever. Does that bother you, or does that? My wife, she would love to flit around different places every 6 months. And never, roots are not super important to me, where it's more valuable to me that I build on something that has been around for a while. Where do you think you're falling?
I would say that, I think in high school, when I recognized my life is not my own, it is the Lord's, and He's going to take me where He would have me. And I embraced that wholeheartedly to wherever He might take me. So I would say that definitely that has not ended. That season has not ended in my life, where it is a lot of transitioning every couple of years and moving to different places. The longest place that I've ever been was Kidder Creek, 7
Wow.
summers.
Wow, that's interesting.
That was the longest commitment I've ever made to any camp.
Wow.
Or any ministry,
Well,
for
thank
that
you
matter.
for that. Yeah.
Which, saying a lot to the leadership that you had,
Yeah.
that I came in.
But we were
under.
also
And then
throwing
in the
at you
transition,
things that you needed to
Yes.
be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah, the wilderness
Yeah.
program and some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was huge, and that was significant to me in that way. And it always was a new challenge, and that excited me and gave me new opportunities to grow. And also knowing, oh yeah, he's entrusting me with this responsibility, and let's go after it.
Yeah.
And it gave me the confidence too. So that's very real.
So let's look at these 6 life calling statements, and let's say out of this life calling statement, this part is really good. This part, I don't know.
I would say the one that resonated the most was pioneering sustainable communities where broken find healing and purpose. And I feel like I've actually lived into that calling versus I would say the other calling statements I have yet to live into fully.
Okay.
So they resonated.
Okay. So let's talk about those though. But let's talk about that one first.
Yeah.
Pioneering sustainable communities where broken find healing. Now, what is broken? The people, the system, the what their spiritual life. Well, talk to me about what's broken ideally for you.
I would say people is a primary. Broken people that are coming to serve or coming to be within ministry, and they're broken. They're trying to find basically hope and restoration in working for Christian ministry, which may or may not happen as you go through it and as you are serving others in that way, but meeting them where they're at in that space. And then
so how do you fix the broken? What do you do most of the time?
I would say that I do not fix the broken, but I would say that I come alongside the broken and love them through giving them direction, guidance, coaching. That's a lot of what opportunities that I've had when I come into organizations. It's like coming alongside those that are broken or in leadership or in other spaces and holding space for them with wherever they're coming from and wherever they're at as they're learning new roles, new responsibilities, navigating this new purpose that they've been entrusted to carry, and basically walking with them through the journey of understanding what that looks like, and also encouraging them in that space of, this is what I see on your life and this is where you're going, and I see how you actually contribute in this way, and I could never do that, but this is who God's made you to be, and this is really beautiful, and this is really good, and championing them in those spaces and places. So that's something I really enjoy.
So relationally, they're becoming healed because you are showing them who they are, and you're also showing them perhaps some things that you see in them that are yet to be discovered or yet to be maximized. Yeah. Okay. Let me challenge you with this executive director position is not really focused on the broken people.
Yeah.
So how do you become the leader that you might be called to, but also deal with this need that you have to shepherd perhaps some misfits or some more challenging people?
Yeah, I would say in the executive director realm, I would say that I also loved solving and strategizing on like the brokenness of systems and processes and all of that too. Like I thrived in that space. Like, yes, I would say that naturally my heart is definitely for the broken individuals within an organization. But then I would also say in tandem with that, when I did enter in, as the executive director at Camp Cascade, like that was where I really I didn't have much of a staff when we first came on. So it was very bare bones of staff. And so it was about changing systems and processes and HR and integrating different things so that we actually could create from the ground up, basically, a camp that was sustainable as a whole. So that was very exciting for me, of like putting systems in place, researching, all of that was part of that piece.
I can relate to that.
And so, yeah.
Today's episode of Your Best Life was brought to you by True North Quests, helping you discover your calling so you can live a life filled with purpose. Find out more at tnadventures.org, where you can book an appointment with a calling coach, learn about upcoming True North Quest workshops, and more. And by Marble Mountain Kennels, where exceptional Labrador retrievers are bred and trained for adventure, companionship, and service. Visit mmkennels.com to meet your new best canine friend. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, remember, your best life starts with knowing your calling and finding your true north.